Hello and welcome to Seasonal Job Pro, the channel that brings you the lowdown on seasonal employment. Today, we're talking about summer camp. So let's get to work. Summer camp. The smell of pine trees and campfires. The first day swim test, jumping into a freezing cold lake with a questionable population of leeches. Dixie cups of a juice-like liquid with a color not found in nature. Camp is great. If your childhood didn't include summer camp at least once, it can be hard to define the feeling of the overall experience. For younger kids, it might be the first time away from home, and parents, and maybe annoying siblings. There's a sense of adventure and freedom, meeting new kids your own age that don't go to your school, and wondering what that kind of funky smell that counselor has that reminds you of your favorite uncle that wears those tie-dye t-shirts. For older kids, it's where your middle school friend met his girlfriend that you'll never meet because she lives in Canada. Or it might be sneaking off for a first kiss and a click of the mouse. If the movies are to be believed, it's where you have an increased chance of meeting your long-lost identical twin. And of course, we already know what kind of hijinks go down at band camp. For parents, it's a costly, slight reprieve for a week or two away from an even more costly decision they did or didn't make many years ago, back when they were happy. Essentially dumping the kids off in the woods with an endless supply of twigs and glitter before hightailing it out of there for a week of peace and quiet, or something else entirely. And then there's the staff. Before we get into that, for those who don't really know, let's quickly cover what exactly summer camp actually is. Summer camps are a place where kids of all ages may spend a week, or, rarely, the entirety of their summer break from school. They usually stay in tents or cabins and do various activities throughout the day. Some camps have a primary activity of focus, depending on the camp or organization that runs the camp. And that could be one or more of a plethora of things. There are marine science camps, equestrian camps, sports camps, Boy Scout camps, religious camps for Jewish or Christian or other kids, arts and crafts camps, performing arts camp, band camp, space camp, and so on. I think you get the picture. And then there's the kind of standard summer camp that usually has a broad mix of all or most of those things. At these camps, kids will sign up to take different classes or activities throughout the days they are there, do stuff, learn, and have fun. That's pretty much the gist of it. Now, to make all this stuff learning and fun having possible, it takes a crew of seasonal job pros. There are a variety of positions within the summer camp staff roster, but today we are going to try and cover just a few of the most common. And before we get into that, there's a few things to get out of the way. First of all, these jobs are working with kids. Anybody employed at a camp will almost definitely need to pass a background check, and that makes sense. Also, for most of the crew, summer camp jobs are the very definition of short term. Many summer camps may only operate from early June to early August, since the main clientele are only available for what coincides with the regular school district schedule. The job may only be 2 or 3 months long. So what are these jobs then? Well, the most common one is camp counselor. Camp counselors are in charge of, say, 8 to 20 campers. They make sure they are accounted for at all times. Whether it's making sure they get up in the morning or go to their activities or classes throughout the day, they need to know where all of their group is at all times. They also need to be, or at least seem like, role models to young, impressionable minds. They are the ones who take them to the nurse when they get a splinter, or get mauled by a mountain lion, or be a de facto guidance counselor when they are homesick, and want to leave because all of the other kids don't like them. You will probably have to, or get to, go on hikes with them, or join in on some of the activities on their schedule, like archery or arts and crafts and whatnot. Counselors are also the ones putting on skits or leading camp songs as well, so it is somewhat of a low budget theater job, too. Camp counselors aren't making bank, let's just say it. Counselors might make $250 to $500 a week, or $2,000 to $4,000 for the whole season. If you make more than that as a camp counselor, you're probably doing pretty good. Yeah, it's not much. But you're not paying for food or rent, and it's tons of fun. So, there's that. It also looks good on a resume or a college application. Next up are activities specialists, also known as instructors, or the horse lady, or something along those lines. These camp jobs are usually in charge of one specific thing, like leading kayak trips or horse riding lessons, archery, arts and crafts, sailing, those types of things. So instead of being responsible for a dozen kids for a whole week, you get a new dozen kids every hour or two and teach them to shoot arrows or glue glitter to just about everything. Not that glitter needs glue. It seems to get everywhere on its own without any assistance. Glitter seems to have a no escape policy. And when classes are done and all the kids are gone, you are responsible for all the equipment. You gotta make sure the sailboats are taken care of and all the glitter has been put away for the night. Activities specialists could make more than counselors, at a minimum in the $350 to $500 a week range. Some may make a little more depending on the level of expertise. Wranglers should be on the higher end, since they do also need to care for horses. And horses are as big as like a dozen 9-year-olds. So there is a bit of responsibility there. Keep in mind, at some smaller camps, counselors double as activities instructors. You probably won't have to care for horses, but you may be a glitter wrangler. Camp nurse. The camp nurse, at a bare minimum, needs to have a CPR and a wilderness first responder certification. And that's bare minimum. Some camps may require you to be an actual registered nurse. The camp nurse is handing out band-aids and dealing with small cuts, bruises, splinters, sprains, sunburns, blisters, and yeast infections. Yep, that seems to happen a lot. I'm not qualified to say any more on the subject, so I'm just going to leave it there. After that, nurses are just a step before handing off major injuries to other healthcare professionals. They're not performing surgery, they are calling paramedics and helicopters. Helicopters because camps are often in remote areas. The camp nurse does need to be on call 24 hours a day, and is hopefully just nice. Right? Like, walk it off shouldn't be the answer to everything. That's for football camp. Camp nurses are important, and being so, they should be paid at least around $8,000 to $10,000 for a season, or around at least $1,000 a week. And cooks! Cooks, for an average of around $800 a week, camp cooks prepare breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks for all campers, staff, and pretty much anyone on the property that is supposed to be there. Food cooked in bulk isn't necessarily always considered the highest of quality, though. It's somewhat akin to school lunch or meals you might find in a military setting. Hopefully, it should be at least somewhat nutritious, and since you are eating the same food yourself, you probably want to try and make it tasty. And nowadays, many camps do provide for most of the special dietary needs that are out there, like vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free, etc., which can be a little more difficult to plan for in remote areas. And some culinary background will probably be required. You can't just watch a YouTube video for every meal. Although, maybe you could. Maintenance. Maintenance crew might be paid on a weekly or seasonal contract, and if so, it should be on par with the nurse. But some places might actually pay the typical hourly wage, and hopefully it's around $20 an hour. Along with fixing anything that breaks, from picnic tables to burst pipes, they may also be in charge of fueling boats, cutting the grass, trimming trees, and fishing things out of clogged toilets. No matter what it is, the term, "there is no budget for that," is something you may hear often, meaning that your MacGyvering skills will be put to the test. Everyone should expect at least one full day off, but since things don't usually break on schedule, maintenance crew may find themselves fixing things during their off time. Camp is not cheap to attend, and corners are often cut wherever they can be to save money. So, where does the money go? Usually to the owners or the organizations that run them. I imagine for Christian camps, Jesus is getting his cut. So it's no wonder summer camps don't usually pay that well. I tried to provide a bit of a ballpark of pay scale for camp jobs, but depending on the camp and the state, it really can vary widely. But room and board is provided for everybody, and camp jobs can be a whole lot of fun. Summer camps are in every state, and there are tons of them. Anywhere there are trees near a lake, there's a good chance there's a summer camp not too far away. With a quick look around, you can probably find the job, state, and pay that works for you. Good places to start looking for these jobs online are, of course, coolworks.com and backdoorjobs.com. Okay, so that's today's video. Just a quick intro into summer camp jobs. Have you ever been to summer camp, or have you ever worked in a summer camp? How'd you like it? Was it great, or was it terrible? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about your experiences as a seasonal job pro. And thanks for watching.